All right, let's try it one more time. Let's see here. So Kyle Petty's 1999 Hot Wheels Pontiac was run by J.R. Hildebrand in Pikes Peak, where he was able to finish 16th overall, fourth in his class. So really cool deal there. The Hot Wheels paint scheme, one of the all-time classics from NASCAR. No doubt about it. So from that era, just one of the ones that you always wanted to see. So really cool to see it back on track. He ran that paint scheme basically, or versions of it, from 97 to 99. So cool to see that one back on track. And J.R. Hildebrand having a good time with it. Go check out his Instagram and I think Facebook, he was also on there too, but I know for sure on Instagram. Check out his channels over there if you want to see the full rundown on that. But good deal for him as well. Probably at least that much of it you heard on the first live stream. So the second story is NASCAR and its countersuit has been given merit by a judge, and it will proceed and continue. It will go to trial. It has won that. So the NASCAR countersuit, of course, is different from the 2311 and Front Row Motorsports lawsuit against NASCAR, where they're saying NASCAR is using monopolistic practices. NASCAR's countersuit is saying that 2311 and Front Row Motorsports have formed a cartel to influence and sway other Cup Series teams. So part of the strategy, of course, is, if NASCAR believes this or not, I don't think it really matters, but this is another thing that 2311 and Front Row Motorsports have to spend legal fees to defend themselves against. It's just another method of making this even more expensive for Front Row and 2311 as they proceed and go forward. So it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out going forward. But we now have two lawsuits to keep our eyes on, as well as the Rick Ware lawsuit against 2311 and Rick Ware lawsuit against Legacy, and the Legacy lawsuit against Rick Ware. So actually technically four lawsuits going on in the NASCAR Cup Series world at this time. It is what it is. SVG's tire changer, JP, you saw him get hit on pit road when AJ Allmendinger overshot his pit entry and hit AJ Allmendinger's tire changer, but he hit the tire changer in the tire. The tire flew off, of course, and hit JP. The tire carrier, I should say, hit the tire changer for the 88 car of SVG, and his pit gun went into his ribs, where he suffered two fractured ribs and a punctured lung. You could see him sitting there in pain, trying to continue and go on. So tough guy award for sure, but thoughts and prayers go out to him. Hopefully he heals up as soon as possible and is able to get back going and at it, and doesn't have any adverse side effects. But if you ever had a cracked rib, or I've never had a punctured lung, but I'm sure that's even worse, about as bad as it can get. But that's a tough one for sure. Hopefully he's able to recover from that as soon as possible, because that just definitely sounds like no fun, 100%. And then the poll question, of course, Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was asked the question, what do you think of Dale Jr. being a crew chief? And Kyle Busch just said, it's for publicity, not a big deal. And he didn't say it, if you watch the interview, in a malicious manner. And to me, he didn't. When I heard it, I was like, whatever. I didn't even think anything about it. But then I saw, a few people thought that it was shade being thrown. Kyle Busch was throwing shade at Dale Jr. for being a crew chief. And so that is the poll question. The options are he told the truth, he threw shade, or neither. It is TMZ type stuff for clicks. Those are the options. If you follow the channel long enough, you probably know where I stand on that one, but I'm going to hold my opinion to myself until I don't want to sway the poll. I just kind of actually want to see what everybody else thinks about it, because I know what I think about it. But let's see here. What else? Mike Joy might call the Lime Rock truck race for Fox there. So interesting development there. Somebody asked Mike Joy or asked for Mike Joy to call the truck race on Twitter, and Mike Joy responded underneath them and said, stay tuned. So you might see Mike Joy call that truck race. I would say more than likely Mike Joy will be calling that truck race. So that'll be a cool thing to see for sure. That'll certainly up the value of that truck race as well. And if you guys want to go over the bracket challenge for NASCAR is now set. So we can go over that today if you would like to. But other than that, let's just jump right into it. As the poll question stands right now, 44% saying he told the truth, 6% saying he threw shade, and 50% think that it's just TMZ type stuff to get views. All right. Dirty Def saying one miss, strike one, says Dirty Def. Indeed. Not on air yet, says Jamie Schweitzer. Not on air yet. But I am talking, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Perhaps I'm good. I'm a good luck charm, says Jamie Schweitzer. Or says Dirty Def. I'm sorry. For sure, for sure. Hopefully this one. Usually the second one takes. I don't know what the deal with YouTube is. It's I don't know. Internet's still going back there, so it's just a YouTube quirk. Let's see. I made the last as it was dying during commercials. Says Jamie Schweitzer. Well, thank God the commercials got in, as it didn't play for everyone else. With all these rumors, tracks that are being thrown out here. Are we going for a 54 race schedule next year? LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. That's what it seems like to me, because they keep throwing all these tracks out here, like San Diego. I guess San Diego would replace I guess Mexico or something like that, or replace the Chicago street race. But at some point, with all these other tracks that they're throwing out here that are coming back, Rockingham's coming back, Chicago's coming back, all these tracks that people keep saying are coming back. Wilkesboro's going to get a points race. They keep throwing all these rumors and stuff out here. Where are all these races going to fit? So are we going to a 54 race schedule? Are we going to have some double weekends? What's going on? What's going on around here? Well, Vince Lombardi for you. Sounded just like him. Anyway, Chase Elliott said he had no idea you won $1 million for the in-season tournament. Kyle Busch said he doesn't care about it. LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. And that's kind of where I'm kind of on the Kyle Busch deal. Like, I don't care about it either. Like, it doesn't seem to mean anything to anybody except for people that really want to have some action on the race. I think that is sort of the market for it. Certainly DraftKings is hoping to make a lot of money off of it. I think that's sort of, or organizations like DraftKings are hoping to make a lot of money off of it, I should say. So I think that is the big push behind it, and that's where a lot of the call for it came from. So I don't think that's any surprise or secret to anyone. So it is what it is. But we can, let's see. If you want to see the brackets, it's Denny Hamlin versus Ty Dillon in round one. Kyle Busch versus Brad Keselowski. That one will probably be the most interesting one to pick, because that's almost like a 50-50. Bubba Wallace versus Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman versus Joey Logano, Christopher Bell versus Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ross Chastain versus Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek against Josh Berry, Chase Elliott versus Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, Noah Gragson, Ryan Preece, William Byron, Kyle Larson versus Tyler Reddick. That's a pretty good matchup right there. Ryan Blaney versus Carson Hocevar. Whose engine can hold the longest between that particular battle? Chris Buescher versus Todd Gilliland. Zane Smith versus Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger. Interesting one right there, too. And Ty Gibbs versus Justin Haley. So there you go. There is your rundown of the actual bracket challenge. I know that's going to spark much debate right there, because I'm sure it's high priority. Everybody wants to talk about it for sure. Let's see. We're good now, says Jamie Schweitzer. For sure. For sure. Looks like we are rolling for sure. Brian Karsten says, I had to see how far Kyle Busch has fallen. He's turned into a 15th to 20th place driver, says Brian Karsten. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He hasn't got the finishes, even when he's had faster cars. Unfortunately, just hasn't got the finishes that he would want, for sure. So I got to clean it up on pit road and got to get the finishes that the car has in it going forward. Difference than hype around the Ty Gibbs was when he was coming up versus Connor Zilic. Ty was the 18 ARCA champion, Xfinity champ. So I see a lot of hype 3 years ago, says Dirty Def. Yes, sort of a similar situation. I put Connor Zilic as more like a Joey Logano with the hype coming out. Joey Logano is the only one I can remember in recent history that's had that level of hype. Ty Gibbs' hype was more like Chase Elliott's hype because it was more associated with the last name. Even though they both won a ton, I think most of the excitement was around the last name. So I think it's a little bit different You had never heard of a Joey Logano before. Nobody had ever heard of a Connor Zilic before until they sort of sprung onto the scene. So I think it's more akin to Joey Logano. Hopefully he doesn't get off to the when he gets to Cup, and he will eventually get to Cup. Hopefully he doesn't start off as slowly as Joey Logano did. When that happens, Kyle Busch is not wrong. 97% of the crew chief job on Sunday can be done in the war room at the shop, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, I agree. I think what Kyle Busch said was like 100% accurate, and I don't think he meant it in like necessarily a bad way. I mean, it's for publicity. You're out there to get sponsorships. You're out there to get as much press as possible in certain situations. So I don't think he was necessarily wrong. I don't think he was necessarily being, throwing shade about it. Like sometimes, telling the truth, I guess, is turned into shade in certain situations. I don't know. I didn't take anything. I don't know. To me, it wasn't a big deal at all. But it is the era we live in. Yep, been a Rowdy fan since he drove a Ford truck. I can't even watch the races now. Seeing him run around 25th just hurts my soul, says Adam Cothran. He's had a tough couple seasons, but every driver in his career has a tough couple seasons. Kyle Busch has not, until recently, had honestly tough seasons. So law of averages. Eventually, your driver is going to have a few tough seasons back to back. But I think he can bounce back out of it. So I wouldn't, ring the alarm bells just yet. What's up, Nathan Campbell? Good to see you on here. Don't forget the street race in Philadelphia, LOL, allegedly, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, that one's set for 2028. So we at least have a few years to allegedly before we have to replace a track there. Ty Gibbs will keep his job until it can be determined if he is the problem or not, says Ron Russell. Yeah, I think he's safe. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Do you think the drivers will race different now with in-season tournaments? LOL says OJ. I don't think so, because I don't think, to be honest with you, there's, like I was talking about earlier, there's no stakes to it unless you're just really out there to win money. Like, it doesn't affect the championship. There's no bonus points for it or anything like that. So until they do something that would give it some type of stakes for the drivers, I don't think the drivers are even going to be aware of what they're doing. They're just going to be like, oh, look, hey, I advanced. And, I mean, it's literally going to be an afterthought. The whole thing seems like it's going to be an afterthought. You are the only person I know that has issues doing live streams, says Joseph Wooten. Well, there you go. Let's see. Watching KB is like watching Aaron Rodgers these days, says Ron Russell. I mean, I guess. We will see. Aaron Rodgers definitely on the downside of his career, but I think Kyle Busch still has some good years left in him. The bracket challenge would be cool if the most popular drivers embraced it and seeding wasn't so bogus. Who was the genius that came up with that seeding format, says Jesse Daly. Yeah, there you go. It's a random pick to seed them. That's part of the problem, and definitely you got to do something to make the drivers take it seriously. Like, because nobody cares. Literally nobody, ever since they've instituted it, nobody has cared except for Denny Hamlin and Dale Jr. If fans don't return to the traditional Brickyard 400, I can see it being rotated, says Brickyard Brickhead. I don't know. I feel like they'll stick with the oval for a while, just because it was such an outcry when people hated the regular track. But I think it'll stay on the schedule regardless. Not sure what you mean by rotated. Talking about heel toe, since Zilic is so young, wouldn't it be easier if he would develop that now so he could benefit from it his whole career? I think he probably does something close to it, because he, at whatever road course it was, he was one of the faster ones at the road course. So maybe he is one of the few that actually does it in the Cup Series for sure. If you're not familiar with what we're talking about, SVG heel toes when he shifts, even though it's a basically an automatic type shifting deal with the stick shift deal they've got there. And in the V8 supercars, they heel toe, and the NASCAR drivers just throw it into gear or take it out of gear, which has given Shane Van Gisbergen an advantage. Two supercar drivers who were breaking it down in their supercar driver podcast, Chasing Apexes. I can't remember the name of it, but something about Apexes. Did you see the Wood brothers had to replace the rear clip of the 21 when Barry hit a bump and broke the clips that attached the diffuser brackets that hold the diffuser on, says Bruce Garvey. Yep. I mean, the car is built like a tank and also built like fine china in certain aspects. So it's really tricky as to how it goes. What did you think of the Hocevar save? Says OJ and Toothpaste. The Hocevar save was pretty good. Probably you won't see that save 99 times out of 100, I would say. So that was a big save for sure. Supercar driver said Cup guys should just hire a European driving coach, and heel toe could be learned over a weekend on a track, says Dirty Def. Yeah, I don't think it will be anything super hard to learn for sure. What up, BD? Glad for Chase Briscoe, says Dave McSwain. Yep, big win. His first win for Joe Gibbs Racing, third in his career. So definitely a huge win for him. 105th all time on the list. His next win will put him in the top 100. So the next win will also be a huge win as well, going in that top 100 of NASCAR drivers to win races all time. Supercar driver said Cup guys should just hire a European driving coach, and said heel toe could be learned over a weekend. For sure. Brad versus Kyle will come down to who has issues first, says Joseph Wooten. Indeed, for sure. There's a few of them on that list, especially with this track being Atlanta, which kind of races like a super speedway, like a mini super speedway now. It's definitely going to come down to a lot of factors, including if there's a big one, who survives it. So the first round is going to be a wild one if you're keeping up with the bracket challenge, for sure. What's up in between the lanes? Good to see you on here, my friend. What were your thoughts on Brad K pitting when it was closed, says OJ and Toothpaste? Not only did he come down pit road and they closed it, but he went and pitted anyway. Like if he had just continued on, he would have been better off, but they still pitted him anyway. Like I just didn't understand the whole process of that. I don't know exactly who was to blame. Some people I blame Jeremy Bullins. Some people say Brad Keselowski vetoed him and made the call himself. It's up to, whatever. I don't necessarily have the radio communication at that exact moment as to who vetoed or who overcalled or who made the call. But either way, the pit road work overall for RFK was just not good that weekend. Not good at all. And it really was costly for that team because they had a car capable of winning that race. And basically that's what they have to do to get into the playoffs. And they wasted a golden opportunity to have a chance to win a race with just some awful pit strategy, some awful pit work, whatever you want to say, and whoever is to blame for it. What's up in between the lanes? I see Mark Martin said his career is being dismissed from Gimmicks, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, indeed. Mark Martin, he's on the Kenny Wallace conversation, is where those comments were made, talking about there's so many now, it's not even comparable to anything anybody basically did in the past career. And he felt that his career was being diminished, and amongst many other hot takes that Mark Martin had. And I agree with him 100%. And more than that, I'm glad that he went on Kenny Wallace's podcast to do it, or Conversations with Kenny to do it, because Kenny Wallace has been so pro NASCAR that it's good to get a varying opinion on the exact same channel. And somebody with the weight of Mark Martin and the weight of Richard Petty, who's also been critical of NASCAR here recently, literally the same week in their championship system. I thought it was great that two people with that much weight behind their name are finally coming out and saying what the fans have been saying for a number of years now. And when the fans say it, we got called bots, right? By the NASCAR brass. But you can't call Mark Martin and Richard Petty bots. So I'm glad some people with some cachet behind their names actually came out and talked about it. Do you think after this weekend, pit road speeds are lowered? Pocono, Michigan, Daytona, and Dega are the only tracks where 55 miles per hour. Everywhere else is 45 or below. At least the set a hard limit to 55, in my opinion. No extra 5 miles per hour, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, I don't know. They'll take a look at it and maybe something will get done, but it was a bad deal for sure. Every time somebody gets hurt on pit road, I feel like that's when they take a look at the rules and things get changed. Back in the day, they used to just fly down pit road wide open. So at least it's not that, but definitely can take a look at making things safer going forward for sure. BB, we helped get the number 19 Toyota Camry XSE sponsored Bass Pro Shops and driven by Chase Briscoe for sure in the off season. Little testing there from in between the lanes. How long can JGR keep the rights to the number 18 before another team can run it? I don't know, because NASCAR changes things so much. Back in the day, I think it was 2 to 3 years, and then you had to relinquish it. So back in the day, it was 2 to 3 years. I don't know what the deal is with it now, to be honest with you. Aaron Rodgers hinting allegedly that this is it for him in Pittsburgh, says in between the lanes. All right, so this might be his final year for real this time, for reals. Let's see. Mark Martin is giving off the old man get off my lawn vibe, says Brian Karsten. Yeah, Gibbs' numbers were insane for just a year of ARCA and Xfinity. Gibbs went to a better team than Trackhouse, and we've seen him struggle at times. So I don't think it's a guarantee for Zilich, says Dirty Def. I don't either. The Cup Series is just a different animal. This car is way different than any other car. But it was a road course, so something that he excels at anyway. But when he jumped in it on the road course, he's definitely one to contend with on the road courses. So you'll always at least have that for sure. If Chevy wins the championship, I think it will be Chase possibly with only one win, says Jamie Schweitzer. That would be pretty awesome. We need a one-win champion, another one-win champion. Came up short on a Nemechek pick, winning Pocono. Good finish nonetheless, as in between the lanes. Yeah, Nemechek had a good run for sure. Josh Berry, double bird to Cindric in the bracket challenge video, who says in between the lanes. How many new winners do you think we will get before the playoffs? That's a good question. I would say probably this year we're going to go. We'll probably go close to 13 or 14. I'm betting for sure. Iceberg and Easta both had Larson winning it all. Says in between the lanes, the playoffs are the bracket challenge lanes. That's what we have to talk about now. Who wins it all? The playoffs or the bracket challenge or the regular season? Let's see. Will David Starr win Saturday night in the Cup race? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't think he's listed to run. Let me go check the order here. Is David Starr in the race? Let's see. David Starr is indeed driving the 66 for Garage 66. So on Earth 2, strong candidate for Earth 2. Strong candidate for Earth 2 indeed. Thunder NBA champs and the parade was the day, says in between the lands. Seattle Mourns. Seattle Mourns once again. 2311 had a lot of issues at Pocono. Definitely their worst race of the season, OJ, for sure. Their highest finishing car was 32nd due to those brake issues. Didn't see Road America IndyCar, but Alex Palou was riding solo in the solo Honda. Says in between the lanes. Denny Hamlin and William Byron were at Fanatics Fest. Says in between the lanes. Indeed. Fanatics does a lot to get drivers in front of fans. So that was one of those promos for sure. Just for publicity. Let's see. Was I throwing shade? So Toyota and Gibbs has a new young driver, 15-year-old Max Reeves, wins the ARCA race at Elko, beating Brendan Queen. Watch out, Ty. LOL. Yeah. I don't think Ty Gibbs has anything to worry about with Max Reeves. And I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. Outside of random commenters, I never encountered. Let's see here. I never encountered people that love the current NASCAR product, says Adam Cothran. Yeah, I don't think anybody is super stoked about the current format of the point system. Even the people that want to play off, they don't think that this is the particular playoff that they want. I got a super chat here. Let's see. Aaron Flynn saying championship. So let's go. I appreciate it. And that's your fifth, looks like fifth super chat. So I appreciate you there, Aaron Flynn. Big fist bump. Appreciate you, my friend, for sure. No doubt about it. Let's see. I think later in the race, Brad K waved off pitting for another lap, and then a caution came out, and he was stuck behind all the other cars that already pitted. So there you go. I guess that's the audible. They're saying that he called on that one that cost him. So yeah, just a bad day on pit road ended up costing. I mean, they got a top 10, don't get me wrong, but they need a win. Top 10s aren't at this point, most likely won't get it done for them. On Earth 2, they have no speed limit on pit road and the garage. That's right. We just have, 100-gallon gas tanks. No need to pit, period, unless the tires come apart. As long as NASCAR keeps with these dumb gimmicks, F1 will remain the most watched form of racing, says Escobar. Yeah, I don't think the gimmicks are helping, which is interesting because Kyle Larson called out F1 for the gimmick, in his opinion, the gimmick of push to pass or whatever, DRS, whatever you want to call it. I remember the days before I know pit road speed. I don't miss that at all, says Adam. Yeah, I don't either. That was bad for sure. BB, your thoughts on Prime? Prime did a good job. Prime, as good a job as they can do, especially for your first year coming in. I think they raised the bar for everybody else going forward, certainly. Reddick and Bubba both get in the playoffs, says Dirty Diff. They've got a good chance. Bubba Wallace has had one of his better years. Just got to avoid the DNFs, and 2311 got to give them something to work with. We can't have another. They can't have another Pocono for sure. bracket challenge winning for with Larson for Estep and Berg. So they're talking about the bracket challenge. They're going with Larson there. Yeah, I have no clue. I have no clue. Does he even get past Reddick in the first round? So that's anything can happen. Anything can happen for sure. Uh, Atlanta essentially a plate track, so can he even finish in front of Reddick at a plate track? So that would be my concern if I was picking him to win it all. That being said, he's obviously going to win it all. Zilich is Chevy's top prospect. Heim is Toyota's. Who is Ford's? Mayer, Riggs. Could make an argument for Zane Smith. I would say at this point for Ford, it's got to be Lane Riggs. So that would be my pick for the Ford deal for sure. Could make an argument for Zane Smith, even though he's already in Cup, but needs more from Front Row Motorsports. Yeah, Front Row has they're sort of, in my opinion, missing Michael McDowell for sure. B, are the rumors true that you have a fake garden gnome beard? Says T Van. All real, real, whole thing's real. There you go. Sorry to disappoint everybody. The beard is real, and I'm not AI, unfortunately. Florida man checking in. What's up, say Kyle? The Magic Championship run starts today, my friend. We finally got a shooter. So there you go. Championship. Jot it down right now. Calling it. Got to get my notepad out to keep up with all the tournaments, playoffs, championships on the line. Yeah, it's getting even more convoluted in NASCAR world. We needed more gimmicks. Thank God we have more gimmicks. This has to be critical mass where NASCAR has got to at some point realize there's too many damn gimmicks. Can we just get back to racing for sure? What's the deal with 2311? Cars all finishing below 31st, says Jamie Swart. Yeah, I don't know, man. The pit, not the pits, but the brake rotors, they weren't getting them cooled off enough, and they were exploding. Just a big miss on their part. Did you see Denny's entrance on a big wheel? Says Dirty Def. I did not see that, but that's pretty cool. Pretty cool for sure. Aaron Flynn, thanks for the support, says Rosie. So there you go, Rosie. Rosie also giving you the big fist bump there. Aaron, much appreciated indeed. I enjoy NASCAR, but it can be better. And I dislike the playoffs, but I still enjoy most of the races. That's kind of where I'm at with it, Dirty Def. I just take it race by race now, and I just enjoy each race for what it is. And the way I compare these current drivers to past drivers is simple. Wins. Like, who's got wins, who doesn't have wins. So that's the only way I can mark it, going forward. Now, that's not fair to a guy like a Matt Kenseth, who raced in an era where consistency mattered and he focused on consistency. Ryan Newman, for the majority of his career, at least, raced in that era. So it's not exactly apples to apples, and you also can't measure it exactly apples to apples that way. But, all we've got to go off of at this point is wins and win percentage. So that's the only thing that really has stayed consistent in the sport, as far as I know. So we'll see here. Dirty Def, I did that. I posted on my story. Coca-Cola fire suits. Says in between the lines, Joe Gibbs Racing social media showed a little bit of the King's Hawaiian Toyota Camry XSE. So there you go. The number 11 is going to be the King's Hawaiian car this season. No longer Brad Keselowski, which is going to be odd. I still associate it with the 6 car. So we're going to have to get used to seeing it on the number 11. I wonder if it'll look any like dramatically different, or will they go with a similar scheme? So we'll see. Going forward, I have to peep that one when I hop off of here. Is Amazon Prime more professional than Fox, says OJ and Toothpaste? They seem to take it more seriously, but they still have a loose atmosphere about them. So it's a little bit of a different vibe. I would say both are professional. Just Fox has not done as good a job recently, but they both have a loose vibe to them. I would say that. Yeah, a turbo boost wouldn't be exciting in NASCAR. Let's try it, says Dirty Def. Yeah, let's get another gimmick in there. I commented yesterday, bring back the modern day version of the Winston Cup preview. Says him, and for sure. I remember I answered that one yesterday or last night for sure. So yeah, I remember that too. They definitely need that. That was a big deal back in the day. Not only that, but there was a nice thick preseason book where back in the day that you could get too. So all of that promotional material, I'd love to see all of that come back. But yeah, the Winston Cup preview was a big deal. A nice show back in the day to get you fired up and ready for the season. You don't get stuff like that anymore, unfortunately, or at least it's not promoted as big a deal like it used to be. BB, you think NASCAR puts the mandate to TNT to push the bracket challenge during the race? Says Bruce Garvey. Whoever's paying for the bracket challenge is probably going to put the mandate to TNT. It's not even going to be close. So whoever is sponsoring the bracket challenge, it's going to be plastered like every 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to be looking at a random spot on the track who's ahead here? That's basically how it's going to be played for sure. Front Row Motorsports is struggling a lot this year, says OJ and Tubis. Yeah, I think they miss Michael McDowell. I feel like he was one of their setup guys, one of their cornerstones where they got some of their good setups and simulator time. So I think they're missing his presence quite a bit this season. Just got some young kids who are getting their experience down, and we'll see how it goes. I feel like they've got enough young guys over there. One of them will break out eventually. Echo Park Speedway is becoming less a super speedway and more about handling. I don't think it's as wide open as Daytona and Talladega. Yeah, it's a mini. Yeah, for sure. It's not the same, but it's definitely a mini version of that. But it's definitely for sure a drafting track. He is down again, says Massey Ferguson. What gimmick annoys you the most in NASCAR? Uh, Says OJ and Toothpaste. Probably the points. The one race to determine the championship is the most annoying gimmick by far, in my opinion. NBA News: Drew Holiday to the Trailblazers for Anthony Simmons and picks. CJ McCollum to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, and Kevin Durant to the Rockets for Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. So there you go, Kevin Durant's going to the Rockets. I miss your post race coverage, says Brian Karsten. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to bring it back or not. Like, they're covering the post race now, actually on TV. So I can't compete with that. They obviously do a better job than me, but maybe we'll take a look at doing like one of these on like a Thursday or something like that. So we'll see what happened. Posted Denny's interests at FanFest in the Discord, says Dirty Duff. Appreciate you, Dirty Duff. I'll check it out there. Shout out to Alan Alexander, says In Between the Lanes. Hi, y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? What's up, North Idaho? The bracket challenge will be talked about on the Altcast with Larry Mack and Jeff Burton. So, yeah, this weekend we do get the Alts broadcast. So that'll be something to keep track of, too. We're going to have the Larry McReynolds and Jeff Burton podcast. We're going to have the regular broadcast. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out, who watches what, if one's better than the other. If I remember to watch either one of them, so it'll be one of those deals for sure. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be very annoying with this bracket challenge during the race, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yep, I think it is going to annoy some people. Some people are going to be all about it. What ratio of that will be, I think, will be an interesting ratio for sure. Porzingis to the Hawks, George Niang to the Celtics with a pick, Terrence Mann to the Nets and picks. I think TNT won't have a post ratio, says OJ and Toothpaste. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens going forward. Most likely this weekend, I'm not going to be here anyway because I'll probably be at South Boston. So we probably won't get pre or post race coverage this weekend anyway because it's a Saturday night race, and I'll probably be doing my thing out there at Sobo. TNT won't have the same post race. Nickelodeon will broadcast NASCAR too, says OJ and Toothpaste. That's what I want. I want the SpongeBob Patrick NASCAR experience. Stage cautions are the most annoying for me, says T-Van. Stage cautions are bad. I don't even care about the stage points, but the stage cautions I could do without personally myself as well. That was for May. Promise I'll catch up, says Aaron Flynn. Oh, you're good, man. I appreciate whatever you can help me with, man. I appreciate you a whole bunch, dude, for sure. So I've heard interviews with crew chiefs and drivers that said they will be aware of where and who they are competing but it won't drastically change anything, says Dirty Def. Yeah, because do you want to throw away your championship run to win the bracket challenge? I don't think anybody's going to make that particular call. So to me, it's just going to be sort of like it's just sort of going to be an afterthought. Like the whole thing is going to be an afterthought. I don't think anybody's going to be super duper fired up about it. Delmer Kaufman, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here as always. I definitely think Front Row misses McDowell, says Brian. Yeah, I'm with you on that. He was a big cornerstone, a big part of that team, and I think him leaving certainly hurt them quite a bit. And him being over at Spire, he's not getting the finishes he wants, but he's definitely had the speed. So if they ever put it together over there at Spire with the 71 car, I think he will be one to contend with. Let's see. Will SVG win again before the playoffs, says Dirty Def? There's a lot of road courses, so, he's got a good chance. Good chance for sure. Happy birthday to Rich Eisen. Indeed. Happy birthday to Rich Eisen. Used to come on after the Dan Patrick Show. Still probably comes on after the Dan Patrick Show, but they're on different channels now. So shout out to him. Great radio show. Two great radio shows, but happy birthday to him for sure. Watch them celebrate the winner of the bracket challenge more than the winner of the Brickyard. What I want to see is them celebrate the winner of the bracket challenge bigger than they celebrate the regular season champion, because I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. They will go to victory lane, and the winner of the race stays on the front stretch, says OJ and Toothpaste. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious for sure. The only thing I would like to know about the bracket challenge is how many knuckleheads wasted their money at DraftKings or whoever, says Bruce Garvey. That would be an interest. Like maybe Adam Stern breaks down the financials of all that playing out. That would be an interesting thing to keep track of for sure. We're debating about this Sunday who makes the best motor oil, says Dirty Death. So, yay, there we go. Maybe we can take a look at that. 246 points in fantasy this week, says Delmer Kaufman. There you go. He dropped a big one on it, hung the big number for sure. So there you go. I think you were the top points man this week. I haven't even looked. I was second in points. I don't know where I fell to. I didn't have a good week at all. I got about half of what you got there. Let's see. Dollar General makes the best motor oil, says OJ and Toothpaste. Dollar General motor oil. Buyer beware. Buy at your own risk. Whatever you want to say there. For sure. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it would make me nervous if I got it there. Let's see. But if it gets you by, it gets you by. Poll question right now. Told the truth, 52%. Neither. It is TMZ type stuff for clicks, is 36%. And 12% think that he threw shade, talking about Kyle Busch's reaction to Dale Jr. crew chiefing. All right. Will NASCAR show the standings of the media points rankings that drivers get paid for, public appearances? Ooh, that's a good question, because NASCAR is handing out, I guess, some money for public appearances and stuff like that. I would like to see that would be a more interesting, in my opinion, bracket than the bracket challenge that we have in front of us. So yeah, that would be a good one. That would be a good one for sure. I think we need to see that one as well. All right, looks like we reached the end of this one. I think KFB was just keeping it real, says Dirty Def. I think so too. So yeah, so I said I would give my opinion on it. To me, I think he just was asked a question and he told, his honest opinion about the question. I don't think he was really trying to throw shade or anything like that. And then I think, the media does what the media does. They're like, ooh, we can get some traction. We can get some clicks and views out of this. So they spun it up. That's what the media does these days. Which race do you see Kyle Busch winning, says Jamie Schweitzer? Bristol would be a good opportunity for him. I could see him winning a Bristol. Any plate race, he's really good at plate races, as is RCR. And mile and a half, he's good at mile and a halves. So if they can hit the setup at a mile and a half, I could see that as well. Was Dale Jr.'s performance the best crew chief ever, says OJ and Toothpaste? Statistically, yes. Right now, statistically, yes. I pound that like button, says Adam. So yeah, if you want to hit the like button, would be much appreciated. But don't feel pressured into do it. Jesse Daly saying drivers get more media points for appearing on Actions Detrimental than Denny gets for hosting it, says Jesse. That's interesting. I feel like that's directly because Denny is in litigation against NASCAR, so they structured it that way. You hear drivers talk about it during interviews, so they see how many media points they have. Would love to see those rankings, says they're deaf. Me too. Maybe I will try to find a way, see if somebody is keeping track of that, because I don't even know how it's scored or anything like that. I'm unaware of how it is scored. Atlanta this week for Rowdy, says Cassandra. So Cassandra's picking Kyle Busch to win this weekend at Atlanta. Not a bad pick. For sure. All right. Looks like we've reached the end of it here. Final results of the poll question. 49% say he told the truth. Neither. It's TMZ type stuff at 38%. And so at least two of them are saying really not a big deal. And then 13% saying they think he was just throwing shade. That's the way it ends with this one. All right. Until the next one, I will catch you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.